Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Thursday, June the 17th. We just got a showdown slate for today. We only have one game today. We got Game 6 of the Bucks and Nets series. As always, guys, we're going to talk through this showdown slate, like we've been doing, go pretty much through the entire player pool, talk about all the playable options. Really just, the guys that I expect to play minutes are going to be guys that I talk about, and then, if I don't expect a player to play minutes, I'm not going to talk about them. So we'll kind of work through the player pool, hit on all the guys I like, all the guys I have interest in. We'll kind of talk about who I like at captain as well. If I'm trying to pay up at captain or if I'm trying to go a little bit cheaper at captain, we'll discuss that too. But before we get started with the breakdown, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would click that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well and click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. And real quickly before we get started with the breakdown, I want to give a quick shout out to the guys over at PrizePicks. For those of you that are new here, or maybe you haven't been checking out the videos lately, we are now sponsored by PrizePicks. We're going to be working with PrizePicks a lot moving forward. You're going to hear me talk about them a lot. A lot of you have already signed up for PrizePicks, and I do greatly appreciate you guys signing up, using my promo code. It helps me out while also does benefit you as well. If you do sign up with the promo code Noah, if you do want to check out PrizePicks and see what they have to offer, you can check them out, link down below, or like I said, just whenever you sign up, use promo code Noah. That'll give you a 100% match on your deposit, your first deposit, up to $100. So if you decide that you want to try out PrizePicks, you deposit $100, they will match that, give you an additional $100 to play with, and you can kind of take a look at the site, see for yourself what they have to offer. Pretty much, you're pretty much betting on player props. I mean, it's basically their projection for each player, their point projection, rebound projection, assist projection. You can take the over or the under. They also do fantasy point projection. This is where I think you can get a really big edge because I'm pretty sure PrizePicks makes these projections themselves. I don't know, if they pull these from a site or something, but they have projections out already for Thursday's game, and there's some guys I do like here, as you can see. We're going to talk about some of these guys in the video, but James Harden has a 33.5 point projection, fantasy point projection on PrizePicks. I know he had a bad game last game, but James Harden played 45 minutes last game. If he plays 45 minutes again, he's going to score more than 33 fantasy points. I don't care what he did last game. I don't care, people are going to say, oh, he's not fully healthy right now. The fact that he has a projection of 33.5 fantasy points is just, it blows my mind, especially with Kyrie Irving out. That's clearly, in my opinion, the best pick on PrizePicks right now. I have a very good feeling that as the day goes on, his projection is going to probably rise to 45 or 50. So if you can go ahead and get on it now, get on this 33.5 number while it's still up there. Love the over on James Harden's projection on PrizePicks. We'll talk about him later in the video. Drew Holiday is a guy I'm a pretty big fan of. I've been playing him a lot in DFS lately. It hasn't really been going well, but he's got a 36 fantasy point projection on PrizePicks. I like the over there as well. And then Blake Griffin, another guy I've been playing in DFS. He's kind of been up and down, but he's still been getting relatively good minutes. The minutes have kind of been somewhat secure for Blake Griffin. Last two games, they've kind of gone down a little bit, only 24 and 29 minutes, but I think most nights we're going to get around 30 minutes from Blake Griffin. He might have lost some minutes last game just because of how well Jeff Green played off the bench. So if we're getting 30 minutes from Blake Griffin, if not more than that, he can easily eclipse 23 fantasy points. He should be a little bit more productive, with Kyrie Irving out. Now that Harden's back, obviously these guys do take a little bit of a hit, but I like the over on Blake Griffin's 23 fantasy points. These are some of my early favorite, kind of picks on PrizePicks. If you guys do want to go and check out PrizePicks, if you want to put these in for yourself, be sure, use code Noah when you do sign up. Get that 100% match on your deposit up to $100. You can do a little flex play with these three picks. You can do a power play, which is what I like to do. The power play is basically, it's a riskier kind of format. You pretty much have to get every pick right, but if you do go 3 for 3, if you get all three of these picks right, you win 5x your money. So even just like a $20 entry on these three picks, if you get all three of these right, that would win $100. So it's kind of a cool way to try out DFS. If you guys do want to check out PrizePicks, like I said, just use promo code Noah. See all they have to offer. They have a ton of sports. Even if you're, obviously, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're into NBA, but they have PGA, they have NFL. When NFL season gets here, they even have season-long stuff if you want to try or check that out. But they have esports. They got everything pretty much. So yeah, check out PrizePicks, link down below. Huge shout out to them. They are sponsoring my channel moving forward, and we're kind of partner with them. We're going to be working with them a lot in the future. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at today's showdown slate and kind of talk through everything. We'll start off at the top of the player pool with Kevin Durant, who is our most expensive option today, 12,400 on DK. If you want to play KD in the captain, he's 18.6. Obviously, very expensive, but last slate, if you didn't have KD in the captain, you probably didn't win last slate because he went out there and just put up a massive game. He had 100 Draftkings points, 49 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists. Probably one of the best playoff performances that we've seen in like the last 2 to 3 years. I mean, dating back to like 2018 when LeBron was playing really well in the postseason. That performance from Kevin Durant the other night was insane. He played the entire game, played all 48 minutes, had 100 fantasy points. He's going to get inflated ownership today because of that, but obviously Kevin Durant is a good play once again. Can we expect him to score 100 fantasy points again? No, but I think KD has 70, 80 point upside. With Harden back, that maybe hurts KD a little bit, but still, there's no Kyrie Irving. Without Kyrie, I do expect the usage on this team to be dominated by KD, by Harden, so really like Kevin Durant again. He's clearly a good play on this showdown slate. I don't really need to tell you that. Same thing with Giannis. I think Giannis is the second best stud on this slate behind KD. Giannis played 42 minutes last game, had 61 Draftkings points. He's going to play 40 to 42 minutes, maybe more here. This is an elimination game for the Bucks. If they lose, they're done. So maybe they push Giannis even more. Maybe he plays like 44 or 45 minutes. At 12K, between him or Durant, I think that's kind of the big decision you have to make. I haven't built lineups yet, so I don't know if you're going to be able to play both. You probably will be. You kind of had to have both last slate to really take down a tournament. But yeah, if I can fit Giannis and KD together, I like that a lot. If I had to choose one, I give the slight edge to KD, but Giannis is obviously a good play here as well. Now Harden, I think Harden's a riskier option because, for one, he obviously didn't look that healthy last game. He only had 22 DK points in 46 minutes, but this is the key thing right here. 46 minutes. If you would have told me last slate, before the slate started, that Harden was going to play 46 minutes, I probably would have played him. The reason I didn't play him last slate just was, I was kind of concerned, were the minutes going to be there? Was he going to play 38, 40 minutes? And the fact that he played 46, that doesn't really. I'm not worried about Harden, getting injured again. I guess the main concern is maybe he's not going to go out there and just be super aggressive. I mean, he really wasn't that aggressive last game. He only took 10 shots. He shot the ball terribly. He only went to the free throw line 3 times, which is obviously something we really never see from Harden. Harden's so good at driving to the hole, picking up fouls. Really didn't do that at all last game. But with a day of rest, with kind of 2 days of rest, maybe Harden looks a little bit better today. At 11K, I think he's going to be a lot lower owned than KD, a lot lower owned than Giannis. He's obviously riskier than those guys, but still, we know Harden has massive upside. We know he can contribute in all categories. We know he can put up a triple-double any night. Like I said earlier, I love his over on prize picks. The fact that he has a fantasy point projection of 33.5 fantasy points is just, it makes me laugh. I mean, if Harden plays 46 minutes again, he's going to score more than 33 fantasy points, and if he doesn't, then I'll just take the L and move on. But pretty much every entry I have on prize picks today, I'm going to bet the over on James Harden until they raise his projection. I'm assuming that maybe Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, his projection will be up from what it is now. But as the time I'm recording this video on Wednesday night, right now James Harden is projected for 33.5 fantasy points on prize picks, and I love that over. One of my favorite picks today for sure. Obviously, I really like that. Now on DraftKings, Harden's a bit riskier than KD and Giannis, but still viable on a shorter slate like this. With one game, you're going to have a pretty tight player pool. It's not like you can just, you're going to have to play these guys. I mean, we only really have 10, 15 playable options. So Harden's obviously going to make it into some of my lineups here. Just don't know if he's going to be like a core play for me. I do feel better about KD. I do feel better about Giannis. Then you have Middleton and Drew in the mid-range. I think both are very solid here. Now, lately, Middleton's been better than Drew. He's been more productive. He's been more consistent. He's been playing a few more minutes as well. He's been getting, 40-plus minutes in 3 straight games. I expect Middleton to play 40-plus minutes again. At 9,400, I think he's a very good option in this mid-range. But I think given the savings, given the likely, lower ownership, I do prefer Drew Holiday. Now, I know Drew Holiday has not been great lately. I know he's been underperforming. Middleton's been better. Obviously, I don't need to tell you that. I mean, you can just look at the game log and see for yourself. But we know Drew Holiday has upside. We know he's a productive player when he's on the floor. He's a guy that can get, assists. He can get rebounds. He's got, I don't want to say he's got triple-double upside, but he can definitely give you 25 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and put up 45, 50 DK points. We know Drew should play a ton of minutes too. He only played 34 minutes last game, but he did get into some early foul trouble, I'm pretty sure. I think most nights we're going to get 40 plus minutes from Drew, maybe more. I mean, in game 3 he played 46 minutes. Like, it's possible we get 46 minutes from Drew tonight. So at 8,600, I really like him in the mid range. I think he's viable for captain. I think he's going to be lower owned in the captain spot. I don't see a ton of people playing Drew at captain, so I definitely like Drew on the slate. I like his over on Prize Picks at 36 fantasy points. I think if he does play 40 plus minutes today, as long as he's not shooting the ball terribly, he should probably go over 36 fantasy points. So I definitely like the over on Drew. I like him in the mid-range, for the showdown slate. He's definitely one of my favorite plays in this mid-range. And, straight up, I think for the ownership discount, I do prefer Drew over Middleton. And I've kind of been on Drew over Middleton lately. It hasn't gone well, but I'm going to stick with it. I do like Drew a lot in this mid-range. But then Joe Harris, I don't really like it, 7,800. He's just overpriced. Like, Joe Harris is a super score-independent player. Could he come out here and knock down 7 threes and put up 35, 40 DK points? He absolutely could, but there's no way I'm paying 7,800 for Joe Harris when I can get Drew Holiday for 8,600. Like, I just don't like Joe Harris today on DraftKings. Blake Griffin, I do like a good amount in this mid-range. Again, he only played 29 minutes last game, but I think a large majority of him kind of losing minutes in the fourth quarter had to do with Jeff Green playing so well. Now, Jeff Green, I expect, will get pretty big minutes. I expect Jeff Green to play around 30 minutes, but I think most nights we're going to get at least 30 minutes from Blake Griffin. I'm pretty sure he didn't play at all in the fourth quarter, and if he did play in the fourth quarter, it wasn't for very long. Most nights we should get some fourth quarter run from Blake Griffin. It's been back-to-back games now that he hasn't played in the fourth quarter, which is just really weird, especially with how well he's kind of played in this series. He's been, somewhat good defensively guarding Giannis, so at 6,800, I do like Blake Griffin in this mid-range. I like his over on Prize Picks, as we discussed earlier. I think if he does play 30, 35 minutes, he's most likely going to go over 23 fantasy points. But then you have Brook Lopez, Bruce Brown. Now, Bruce Brown started last game, but he didn't really play that well. He lost a lot of minutes. He only played 13 minutes. He's risky just because we don't exactly know how many minutes he's going to play here. Like, Jeff Green could take minutes from Bruce Brown. Landry Shamet could take minutes from Bruce Brown, which is what happened last game. Brooklyn pretty much ran a 7-man rotation. Pretty much both these teams ran a 7-man rotation. Like, Mike James only played 3 minutes. I think Nicholas Claxton only played like 1 or 2 minutes. Like, Bruce Brown's risky. He probably plays like 20 minutes, but, if he's not playing well, I mean, we could see one of these bench guys just kind of steal minutes from him like last game. So I don't have that much interest in Bruce Brown. I think he will be low owned, though, which I guess makes him somewhat appealing in tournaments. Don't feel great about him, though. Brook Lopez, I mean, we know what Brook Lopez is going to do at this point. He's going to play 30 to 35 minutes. He's not a guy that really has a massive ceiling. Like, in order for Brook Lopez to go out there and break the slate, like, he's going to have to knock down, like, 5 threes, get double-digit rebounds, and then block, like, 4 or 5 shots, which, he's got shot-blocking upside. I mean, he's had games this season where he's put up 5, 6 blocks, but Brook Lopez is really never someone I feel like I have to go to. Now, on a showdown slate where we don't have a ton of options, obviously Brook Lopez is playable. I just don't think, if I'm playing one lineup, there's probably other guys I prefer. Like, for cheaper, I feel way better about Jeff Green. Jeff Green, last 2 games, basically since coming back from injury, he's played 27 and 35 minutes. He is clearly going to be a part of this Brooklyn rotation moving forward. I'm expecting Jeff Green to probably play 25 minutes minimum. Like, he's going to, at the minimum, play at least like 25 minutes. Probably will play more, though. He shot the ball really, really well last game, which is a little bit of a fluke. A late 8 for 11 from the field. He shot 7 for 8 from 3. He literally couldn't miss from 3-point range. Had a big game, 38 DraftKings points. Even with the really good shooting performance, I still do like Jeff Green here. Like, I don't expect him to have that good of a shooting game again, but the minutes should be there. I think he's going to be a key part of this rotation. I think he's going to be a guy that gets minutes for this team moving forward. We saw during the regular season, he was consistently playing 20, 25 minutes off the bench. With Brooklyn tightening up the rotation now in the playoffs, with them kind of running like a 7 or 8-man rotation right now, the minutes should be there, and that's all I really care about. And at 4,800, he's cheap. I like him a lot for value today for sure. I think Jeff Green's probably the best value play below 5K. Mike James kind of skipped over him. I mean, he only played 3 minutes last game. Without Kyrie Irving, you would think Mike James would get more minutes, but if they're going to play James Harden 40, 45 minutes, I mean, it's just tough for Mike James to really get a ton of run because I don't know how much they're going to play him alongside Harden. And if Harden's playing that much, it's just, there's not going to be a ton of minutes available for Mike James. So he's tough to go to. For 5,200, I don't see really any reason to go to Mike James here. And then, like, Bryn Forbes, he didn't play that much last game, only 13 minutes. He really hasn't been good at all in this series. He hasn't had a good game. His best game was game 2. He put up 16 DraftKings points. with Milwaukee also running a very tight rotation, my best guess is we get like 15 minutes from Bryn Forbes. Obviously, if he comes off the bench and he starts knocking down threes, then yeah, he could play more minutes, but kind of risky at 4,400. I don't really have that much interest in Bryn Forbes. And a lot of these value guys, I mean, I just don't feel good about. Like Claxton last game, literally played 2 minutes. I don't think I can go to Claxton here. Like, I just don't know how many minutes he plays. If they're going to run a 7-man or 8-man rotation, like Claxton at most maybe plays 10 minutes, if that. Like, I just don't feel great about Claxton. Landry Shamet actually did get some decent minutes last game. He played 28. I think if I had to choose someone, this cheap, like below 4K, or if we're talking about cheap guys below 5K, I think Jeff Green is obviously my favorite. Landry Shamet, though, would probably be my second favorite. I don't think he plays 28 minutes again, but I think he does get at least like 18 to 20 without Kyrie Irving. I think that does benefit Landry Shamet in terms of minutes. He's one of their guys off the bench that, he's had a pretty secure role in this rotation all season, and I think he does play probably 20 minutes off the bench. We could literally see, like I said, we could see Brooklyn run a 7-man rotation, and the only 2 guys off the bench that get minutes are Shamet and Jeff Green. That was kind of the case last game. Even though Claxton and Mike James played off the bench, they only played 2 minutes and 3 minutes. So, yeah, I really like Landry Shamet for value. I think at 3,200, if you want to pay up for multiple studs, he's someone I'm definitely looking to. And then as gross as it sounds, I mean, PJ Tucker, 2,400. He's played 33, 29, 33. Like, he's getting minutes. Now, obviously, PJ Tucker is not a productive player at all. For him to really have a good game, you're going to need him to knock down a couple threes. You're going to need him to get a couple steals. But we don't really have any great value that stands out outside of Jeff Green. So going to a guy like PJ Tucker, I think at 2,400 definitely makes sense. I mean, he's going to play probably 25 to 30 minutes. He's been good defensively on Kevin Durant so far in the series. They're going to try and match his minutes with Kevin Durant if they can. Obviously, if Kevin Durant plays the entire game again, then PJ Tucker's not going to play in the entire game. But as long as he can stay out of foul trouble, I think we do get at minimum 30, 32 minutes from PJ Tucker, if not more. For 2,400, if you're trying to jam in multiple studs, which seems like the kind of way you want to go on this showdown slate with how these teams play their rotations, just with how the stars, how much the stars score. Like, obviously last slate you had to have KD, you had to have Giannis. This could be another slate where KD puts up 70, Giannis puts up 65, 70, and you have to have those guys in your lineup. So if you're, I think roster construction wise, it makes sense to play both studs. And if you are playing both studs, especially if you're playing one of them at captain, you're going to have to go cheap to get them in. And PJ Tucker, if I'm trying to play both those studs at the top, I think PJ Tucker is going to be necessary. So I have interest in him for 2,400 as a punt play. Him, Shamet, Jeff Green are kind of my favorite values below 5K. Bobby Portis, just randomly last game, did not even play. Like, he wasn't even in the rotation. So I don't feel great about Bobby Portis today. If you want to take a shot on him and hope that he gets back in the rotation and plays like 15 minutes, you could, but with Bobby Portis getting a DNP last game, I don't feel great that he actually even gets minutes today. So he's risky, and really no one else I see is playable. None of these 1K guys are going to step on the floor unless it's like a blowout or something. So that pretty much does it. I think we talked about every playable guy. Kind of talked about who I had the most interest in. For captain wise, just real quickly, at captain, me personally, I think I want to try and pay up at captain just because I think these stars like KD, Giannis, like these guys just have so much upside. They're most likely going to be the high-scoring players on this slate. They're probably going to outscore the next highest guys by 10, 15 points. I want to try and pay up for one of those 2 at captain. Give the edge to Kevin Durant, but I think Giannis is obviously a good captain play as well. I like Drew in the mid-range, though, if you're looking for like a mid-range captain option. I don't think a ton of people are going to play Drew at the captain spot, especially with how kind of mediocre he's been. But we know Drew still has massive upside. We know he should play a ton of minutes if it's a close game. So I do like Drew as a lower-owned kind of mid-range option at captain. And if you want to go cheap, I think Jeff Green at 7,200. As long as the studs, like if Kevin Durant puts up 80, you're probably going to need him at captain. But as long as neither one of the studs or really any of the studs go for like 80, like even if Giannis or KD, even if they put up like 70, there's a chance they still aren't in the winning lineup at captain because maybe we get another 30, 35-point game from Jeff Green, which could make him the optimal captain play. If you do want to go cheap at captain, I'm fine with Jeff Green at 7,200 as a cheaper captain play. But like I said, guys, I think you do want to try and pay up at the captain spot for KD, for Giannis. If you want to go with Harden at captain for lower ownership, like he's not going to be that popular at all today. I don't think he's going to be popular in the captain either. So that makes some sense too. But obviously, KD and Giannis I feel the best about at the top. But yeah, guys, that breaks everything down. I think we touched touch through everything, talk about everything for this showdown slate. I do appreciate you guys watching the video as always, and I hope you did enjoy. Before we end the video, real quick, want to give a quick shout out to PrizePicks. As I said, guys, they are sponsoring my channel moving forward. We are partnered with PrizePicks. We're going to be working a lot with them moving forward. So if you have not checked out PrizePicks yet, you want to give them, or if you want to check them out, see what they have to offer, be sure to use promo code Noah when you do sign up. Get that 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. PrizePicks will match pretty much any deposit you make as long as it's at the max $100. If you deposit $100, they will match that and give you an additional $100 to play with. So yeah, check out PrizePicks, guys. Sponsor the channel, and I think that's it. Appreciate you watching, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button as well. Be sure to click the notification bell too, so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also do get notified every time I live stream. But good luck tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.